All right, this is Daniel Caycedo with Colorado MMA News, and today I'm joined by JD Hardwick, professional kickboxer and Muay Thai fighter. I'm currently preparing for your next fight about a week from now, Sparta in Wyoming III, Cheyenne, Wyoming, and you're going to be taking on Glory veteran and local guy as well, Justin Moss. So how are you feeling about a week out right now?
Man, I feel great. Been training hard, working a lot with my coach, Steve Eisman, my boxing coach, Kenny Hill at Tao Boxing. Just getting good reps, working hard, always training. So, I spent the last year and a half trying to transition to being a kickboxer, even
Right?
though, let's be real, I've been a kickboxer in MMA for a long time. Uh,
Absolutely.
it's been nice to have this time to just focus on it. Quarantine was actually kind of a blessing for me because I got to just sit down and focus on my craft, living like 10 feet from the gym. To kind of transition my stance, my motion, and everything I'm doing to better suit this sport.
Interesting. Yeah, I guess, among other things, MMA generally you need a lower stance, a little wider, so you can defend those takedowns. Meanwhile, now you can work the hands and the kicks a lot more without that concern of the takedown always being there. And I love that combo you just talked about. I mean, Steve Eisman with the, very traditional Muay Thai approach, and then Tao boxing working the hands. So you've got that, those heavy hands of the kickboxing, and then Steve style, I mean, his heavy hands as well, and those heavy low kicks, but mixing in the Muay Thai stance and the clinch a lot more. So I love the combo. And then I assume this matchup is strictly kickboxing, so no clinch.
Right, yeah, just kickboxing for this one. So it should be a high-paced fight, a style that I think both of us are suited better for. So I think it really makes this fight, beginning to end, it's going to be some action.
Yeah, absolutely. And both of you, I mean, I would argue that, your game's a lot more kick oriented, but both of you have the heavy hands and the combos set up with the hands. So, like you said, just a great matchup all around. And, local Colorado guys, but really, I mean, this is a great matchup even on the national, international level. But you both are very high level guys. You've been training, like you said, with Steve and Tao Boxing. He's over at Muay Thai of Colorado. So just overall an awesome matchup. I'm certainly excited for it. How do you feel about the matchup? I mean, how do you envision the fight going?
Man, so I've known him for a very long time. He's definitely one of my friends. I have nothing but love for that guy, even though I plan on trying to break his arms and his jaw. I love the guy, and I know he's going to bring a great technique. He's with a lot of the same coaches as me. We both worked at this juvenile, pretty much juvenile prison that we both worked at this spot at different times. I have a ton in common with this guy, and I'm just
Yeah.
really excited to get to go out there, have no ill will, but just try and destroy each other, and then, maybe have a beer afterwards. So I don't know how the fight's going to go, we're both going to try and kill each other, and then at the end, it's all respect.
I love it. I love it. Absolutely. And one of the something you just mentioned right there, a lot of overlap. Obviously Colorado, it's one state. There's generally going to be overlap with a lot of the martial artists, especially people at your level, pros that have been in Colorado for a minute. I mean, you're going to generally train with the same guys, same coaches. So it is interesting. And I still think that you guys have a good difference of styles that'll look good as well. And certainly, provide some comparing and contrasting for the fans. So it'll be an exciting matchup. I agree. Have you been working on anything specific for this fight, for this matchup?
Like I said, I've spent so much time the last 18 months transferring my skills from being an MMA fighter to being an actual kickboxer.
Yeah.
Whether it was spending a couple of months on the phone with Alex Palma working on footwork and stance, to working with Steve or working with Sean Madden or Kenny, any of my coaches working on these specific skills. But it's just been about making all of my weapons and defenses and angles all accessible from a stance that I can get to all of those things. Where when I was doing MMA, the stance had to be primarily to stop the takedown. The angles were to stop the takedown. They just needed some small adjustments so that I can be live at all times and be ready to attack and defend at all times. So that's really been my focus. It's just those small transitions, making my skills a little bit more ready to go.
Yeah, and that's great to point out. I mean, it's this nuance in fighting, especially striking, where the differences can just be inches, can be centimeters between landing and not landing. Both of you, arguably much more technical than an equivalent MMA fighter at the same point in their career. So yeah, I mean, it's the little things that make the difference. I love that you're doing that, and I think Steve Eisman is one of the unheralded names in Muay Thai, especially in Colorado. He's a great mind for it. Spent a lot of time in Thailand, as have you. So I love the combination there, like I said, of coaches. So who do you plan to have in your corner for the fight?
It'll be Steve and Kenny, and
Awesome.
Kenny I've worked with for I think 6 years now, and Steve has been like really putting in a lot of work with me. And like you said, he may be like an unheralded coach right now, but I promise you, when people think of Colorado Muay Thai, Steve Eisman will be one of the top names they're thinking about internationally, nationally, statewide. Like everyone's going to be talking to him. He's an amazing coach, and he's super committed to the sport. And yeah, he's just an awesome guy.
Absolutely, I agree, and great praise as well. So you met him and Kenny will be in your corner, and then for this fight, so obviously not looking past it, but Sparta did also announce that they are coming out with Muay Thai with 4-ounce MMA gloves, similar to what's one championship is doing over in Asia. They're going to be the first ones to do it here in the U.S. and specifically, hopefully Colorado right now, Wyoming, but. Does that interest you at all? I know you have, like I said, you spent time in Thailand. You've taken Muay Thai fights. Does that interest you, the MMA gloves of Muay Thai?
Absolutely, because I don't think anybody's gonna be able to defend my boxing when they have those small gloves on. But it really comes down to matchups, like it's very difficult for me to find fights, especially locally. That's why I'm fighting a guy that I like and respect and fighting at his weight class.
Right.
So if anybody wants to get it, like I'll be ready. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see if anybody steps up.
And I apologize, I didn't even ask that. What is this fight going to be at? What weight class?
170.
170. Okay, yeah. So, like you said, the upper end of your weight class. Generally, you're more closer 155, 160, right?
Yeah.
Cool. Neat. And you're the more volume guy. From my opinion, you're the more volume guy too. So theoretically, should work to your favor. Avoid the power and land the volume.
Yeah, absolutely. Try and beat it with some speed and some tactics. Use my mind to get in and out of there. But Justin's a game fighter, and I definitely don't think this is going to be an easy fight. I think bell to bell, it's going to be a scrap. But I'm going to fuck you up, Justin.
I love it. No, I'm excited. I'm sure he's fired up for it too. So obviously we'll be tuning into that. So that's September 19th, this coming next Saturday. So buy the pay-per-view. And what do people have to do to give you credit for the pay-per-view purchase?
Just type in my last name, Hardwick, Hardwick.
Awesome.
That's all it takes.
And again, not looking past this fight by any means, but what would you say your goals are at this point in your career, and specifically having made this transition to purely striking?
I would like to, I've been matched up to fight for this US IKKC title a couple of times.
Right.
I would like to get that belt. I'd like to go after the WBC belt. And then I would like to really challenge myself internationally. I'd like to represent the U.S. on the international stage and show that we've got some really good Muay Thai, especially right here in Colorado.
Absolutely, I'd love to see it, and I think you're on that level. I think it's just a couple steps away. So that's great. That's the goal, and I think you'll get there one step at a time. Right. This is the next one. So that's awesome.
Absolutely.
How can people follow you online and follow your career?
You can follow me on Instagram at deadshot.ronin. Yep.
Insta. Go follow him. Give him a follow. Buy the pay-per-view. SpartaSC.com. Enter Hardwick to give him credit. Watch the fights next Saturday night, September 19th. And give us a follow as well. Colorado MA News everywhere on social media. Awesome, JD. I appreciate you. I appreciate the time. And Chalk D in this upcoming matchup. I'm excited to see it.
Thanks, brother. I appreciate it.